Alright, what is up guys? Losermaniac here, and today, welcome to a video. I'm going to talk about something that's kind of my opinion based, so for once, I specified that early in the video. Now, I do want to say one thing first of all, I'm going to be talking about why I enjoy the railroad, so if for some reason you don't like the railroad, click off this video because I'm going to piss you off. And another thing, I am going to say some stuff that if I do say something that that another faction does as well, just know, I think of them differently. Like, one of the things I'm going to talk about, some other faction does as well, but I'll also explain why I think that faction is a bit different and has a different approach to that. So first of all, why I like the railroad is that overall, Desdemona is a really good leader. She cares about her people. All right. Now, a lot of people will say, "Oh, the Brotherhood of Steel, the Institute does that." In my opinion, I gotta disagree with that because with Elder Maxon, it's a case of it's him that you should be in line with. For example, with the case of Paladin Danse, it's revealed that he's a synth, and instead of making him the exception because he is Maxon's greatest soldier of all time, he even says yourself whenever you first join up, and instead of making him the exception, he orders you to kill him. So he doesn't care about his soldiers, he cares about what soldiers think of him and him only. That's why he says if you disagree with him that you'll fall in line soon enough, because you are gonna listen to Maxon. And with Father, he doesn't care about people he works with. He just cares about the people he makes, the synths. And in fact, Justin Ao brings up a good point, in the sense that you are not a scientist. Scientist knows the Institute, and some people may say, well, it needs a leader. While that is true, you barely know anything about the Institute. You just showed up, and now you're automatically made a leader. And to be honest, what it needs is a scientist leader. Because they know what they're doing, they know what the Institute is looking for, they know what the Institute needs. They don't need a leader who just showed up a couple days ago and is now automatically a leader. So, and some of you guys may say, well, the Minutemen's the same way, and to that I agree. But I'm not saying the Minutemen aren't the worst faction. I'm just saying why I personally like the Railroad. But with Desdemona, it's a matter of, like, whenever Glory dies, and I'm not giving spoiler alerts because this game has been out for years. If you really care about spoilers for a game that came out years ago, I'm sorry. Go watch videos. I'm not gonna be like, oh, because this video is gonna be nothing but spoilers anyway. So, whenever Glory dies and High Rise dies, she's heartbroken. Well, not as much as Glory with High Rise, but still, she's heartbroken by the people that she's lost, because she takes her job very seriously, which is another thing. She takes her job very seriously. Again, not as much. I could say the same thing about the Brotherhood of Steel and the Institute, but I do not like those two. As you guys can tell from one of the last Fallout 4 videos I made, I talked about how terrible the Brotherhood of Steel and the Institute is. Mostly the Institute, but still. And I always talk about this whenever it comes to talking about the Railroad, Brotherhood of Steel, and the Institute, is that there's a morality, which is are synthetic people human? And I agree that they are humans, because it could be easy, because if synths are real, for all we know, we could have come across like 5 of them. Right now, I could probably walk outside and see 5, or probably come across 5 if they were real without me knowing. So they are people. But that does distinguish between synths and robots. Yes, some people think that synths are robots, in which case you're probably a fan of the Brotherhood of Steel. or you think they're slaves, in which case you sided with the Institute. But personally, I do think they're humans, but that does distinguish between synths and robots, because I kind of went sidetracked, so let me get focused back on track. To me, in order for someone or something to be considered a human, it needs to be blatantly obvious that they are human. Some of the robots that we have right now that you see online, those to me are robots, and here's why. Because they don't look like you and me. Yes, that does seem... Is that racist? I don't know if that's racist. I'm trying not to be, but... They have metal parts in them. They don't distinguishly look or talk like a human. They don't talk like you or I. If that's grammar. But synths do. They do look like actual humans. For all we know, Piper could have been, or Deacon could have actually been a synth, even though that's not true. Or Myrna, or Dr. Soon, or even Dr. Amori could have been a synth, for all we know, which they aren't. But that brings up the point of, are synths human? Yes. To me, they are, because you could have, like I mentioned before, you could have come across synths on your way to to go get Nick Valentine. Some of the triggermen to save Nick Valentine in Park Street Station could be synths. You just don't know, except for the ghouls, because I don't think synths can be ghouls. And another thing is, I love underdogs. That sounds weird. I love the underdog in movies, TVs, video games. Mostly video games, because I'm not a movie person and I stopped watching TV. And yes, while some people may think the Minutemen are the underdogs, I gotta disagree on the sense that they just have bad luck. The Railroad is the underdog. Because in the sense of, like, sorry, my glasses are broken. I probably should specify that ahead of time. My glasses are broken. For like the last 5 or 6 videos I made, they've been broken, and I have no idea how to fix them. So if my glasses fall off, that's why. But the thing is with the Minutemen, they aren't the underdog because they get bigger. They retake the castle. The second they retake the castle, they are no longer the underdog. They're not as powerful as the Minutemen or the Brotherhood, but they are as big as the two. Did I say the Brotherhood and the Railroad? What did I say? The Brotherhood and the Institute? Hopefully, that's what I meant to say. While the Minutemen isn't as powerful as the Brotherhood and the Institute, they are as big as those two once they retake the castle. But the Railroad, if you destroy the Institute, they stay where they are. Yes, they do have certain agents looking out at military checkpoints, or kind of talking about yeah, just military stations. I was like, what else? No, that's it. And you can talk to them, but the problem is that they don't take the police station. They don't take back the switchboard, which I think would have been awesome if you could just retake the switchboard. They don't grow in number. They just stay where they are. Yeah, they do. You do lose one, but that does add a bit of confuzzles or whatever in there. So I guess I would have to say that overall, I'll almost end of the video. There has to be more. I mean, yeah, they're pretty precautious. Who doesn't like taking precaution, right? Another thing I do is, especially whenever the first time I played them, it was, with games like these, I love, like, the risk of getting caught in styles where I shouldn't get caught. Like if I play Call of Duty and there are stealth missions, I love the feeling of just risking getting caught, even though I hate the feeling of getting caught. And with this, especially Rocket's Red Glare, or Red Glare, I don't know which one it is. I think it's Rocket's Red Glare. Um, you infiltrate the Brotherhood of Steel, and if you take Deacon, and if you use Deacon's way, or if you take Deacon with you, what you're essentially doing is you're infiltrating the Brotherhood in Brotherhood clothing and not getting caught if you pass the speech checks, which I advise taking which for information and advice, I advise taking like a newsboy cap, a militia hat, or whatever increases your charisma by 1, or increases your charisma, as well as eyewear. Definitely do not wear clothing that increases it, because it's not going to be useful. So I would say wear eyeglasses and a hat, and grape mantats. Grape mantats are important for charisma. If you have low charisma, you'd be getting around, depending on if you have the bobblehead or not. I usually don't, because I don't like the quest to get the charisma bobblehead. You'll be looking at around 8 charisma, maybe more, or 9 if you have the bobblehead. Plus you can drink booze, or use Day Tripper or XLs or whatever to increase your charisma to make it better, but that's neither here nor there. But just the fact that you can infiltrate the Brotherhood, pass the speech checks with Captain Kells or Quinlan, depending on which way you go. I usually go Kells route because I have no idea how Quinlan works. Because I would assume he knows the people more with the Brotherhood, considering the fact that he has a list of names and whatnot. But it's the fact that you blend into their you talk to Kells, and then you just plant the bombs and get out if you successfully do it. And then just that feeling of like, whenever I got the PS4 fixed, the first group I sided with was the Railroad, because they're my favorite faction. But whenever I did Rocket's Red Glare, just going through the whole thing again, because it's been a while since I experienced it, so I was so shaky. I was like, this is absolutely amazing. Sorry, assholes. There's assholes over there. So just going through that was very like, oh, it was amazing. That once the Pridwin exploded, I just dropped the controller, and I just got so excited. And even blowing up the Institute was really awesome. Consider the fact that you are infiltrating the Institute as a Railroad agent, and you talk to Liam Benet and Z114, and you cut Patriot loose. That was the weird thing. I wish there was a way you could tell Patriot, like, hey, this is what we're doing. Instead, we're putting our trust in Z114 to save as many synths as possible. In which case, but Patriot's like, no, we gotta save those 13. I just want to be like, listen here, motherfucker, we're saving as many as we can. If our cover is blown, they don't know where the Railroad is. That's the thing. They don't know where the Railroad is. If we get caught, what the fuck are we gonna do? I am the parent of father. I usually play as a female, so I was almost said mother. I am the mother of the leader of the Institute. What the fuck is he gonna do to put his mother in harm's way? Like, what the hell, right? So I think it would have been interesting if they took a different approach, instead of like giving Patriot what he needs and just letting him go. Just be like, listen, we have a better plan. We're gonna try and save as much sense as we can instead of those 13, because we are the Railroad. This is what we do. Fuck you. No. I don't know. Plus the fact that they give you like all these weapons and armor, and they have better stealth boys. They have Railroad stealth boys that work like the actual stealth boys in New Vegas. You use it works instantly, unlike the regular stealth boys where you just use it, you press a button and it's a bit longer, and I think the Railroad Stealth Boys last longer too. So that is a big plus. Plus, who can forget about the greatest thing that makes the Railroad the best faction ever? Ballistic Weave. Yes, it doesn't work on all armors, but on the armors that does work, it's the greatest form of protection ever. Yes, the only way you can get it besides using mods is siding with the Railroad, but that's gonna be so worth it in the end. And and not to mention not the technologies they have, but just the fact that they use railway rifles. That is a hard word to say when you have a speech impediment. Railway rifles. Fuck me. It's absolutely amazing. What's not, well, okay, I was about to say what's not to love about the Railroad, but if you hate synths, I will admit though their cause is pretty weird, but that's besides the point. In fact, even though I admit to that, I will say I fucking lied there, because their goal is worth fighting for. They don't care about themselves or claim they care about the people of the Commonwealth when they fucking don't. Brotherhood of Steel and the Institute. They don't kidnap. You don't have to side with them. If you say you want to side with the Minutemen, she's disappointed, but she's not gonna be like, no, it's too late now. You did work for me. You're in for life, and she doesn't expect you to fall in line with their beliefs. You don't have to. You can say Institute of Slaves or that they're just machines. That doesn't forbid you from not working with the Railroad. That's the thing. You don't have to agree with their saying, and you can or you don't have to agree with their cause. You can still work with them if you think synths are a bunch of trash and you just want to help them out. So by saying that, by saying that they're one of the few people where they're the only faction where you have to agree with what they're saying, I disagree. In the sense that Desmoda's not saying you'll fall in line eventually. No, you don't have to. Unlike Maxit, who says you'll fall in line eventually. Or the fact that the Institute is hostile towards you. Even if you haven't met them. You haven't been... The second you leave the vault, you are considered enemies with the Institute. You're not enemies with the Brotherhood. You're not enemies with the Railroad. And no one's enemies of the Minutemen except for the Nuclear World Raiders, but we're not talking about that. So it's a matter of... I will say it is an opinion, and I do respect that. If you do respect as long as you respect mine. If you don't respect my opinion, then you can go fuck yourself. But most people do, except iFunny. Fuck iFunny. Anyways, and I mean their armor is amazing. It's not power armor, but it's better than the Institute. They don't even have armor, but they do, but it's just a lie. But consider, and their armor goes up to like small or light, sturdy and heavy. But with the Railroad, you have Railroad armored. Fuck, what is it? Railroad armored trench coat, and there's 5 different sets. Each of them are better than the previous. Except for the first one, which is just base. Well, I mean, having that is better than no armor, right? So, and yeah, some of you guys may say, well, they're just silly. I disagree. I don't know. And some of you guys may say, who's going to say they're silly? I mean, Mr. House wanted the Brotherhood of Steel destroyed because they're silly. Or ridiculous, but I consider it silly because I hate Mr. House already. I'm going to twist his words to my advantage because he's not real. I wish. That'd be funny. But with that being said, that is this is a video as to why I think the Railroad is the best faction ever. Well, not the best faction in Fallout, but why I enjoy siding with the Railroad in Fallout 4. And if Fallout 4 was to happen, even though I'd be on 2077. I'd be like 76 by the time the bombs dropped. If I had a chance, I would definitely say the railroad would be the faction I'd side with. So, yeah, I should be cryo frozen for 267 years. That math is spot on. Or 266. Because this year's almost over. So yeah, that's my opinion as to why I believe the railroad to be the best faction ever, or best faction ever, like I said before. Let me know in the comment section down below who of the 4 Fallout 4 factions do you side with and why. And why the hell would you side with the Institute in the first place? They have nothing going for them. And overall, and if you want to, let me know overall who's your favorite overall Fallout 4 faction. Either whether it's the main ones like NCR, Caesar's Legion, or the Enclave, if you decided with the Enclave at all. To your minor factions like the Followers of the Apocalypse or Adam Cats or Children of Adam. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. I'd love to hear from you guys because I'm not an asshole. That's a lie. I am. But to an extent. So yeah, make sure to leave your likes, comments, subscribe, and all of that. It'll really help out the channel. Also, share this with friends who know the Fallout series as well. Get their opinions on them. And if you disagree with me, that's fine. But if you're going to be aggressive about it, then you can go fuck yourself. Because I have seen so many people hate on the railroad for fucking bullshit reasons. So that's why I'm more worried about this one than my Last of Us Part 2 video. Because I don't give a shit anymore. It's an opinion. I still don't understand why people hate the game. But this is kind of, I wouldn't say it's kind of personal, but consider the fact I have 3 different characters now that I have my PS4 working, since all of my shit got deleted, and then all 3 of them are gonna, one of them already sided and blew up the Institute with the railroad, and the other 2 I'm gonna side with the railroad anyways because they're so much better, and they don't really have that many quests to go off of. You have like Tradecraft, Boston After Dark, molecular level if you side with the railroad. That to me counts. And then Underground Undercover plus Operation Ticonderoga plus the additional I need to be careful, plus the additional Radiant quest and whatnot. But you don't really do much as opposed to like the Brotherhood of Steel or the Institute, whatever. To me, I think they have either that or the Minutemen have like the least quests ever. Even though the Minutemen give you a shit ton of stuff, so does the railroad. So, and plus, I think, although the Minutemen is what I think to be the easiest, I also think the railroad is. No, because all of them have the same difficulty. I would say the only thing that kind of throws me off with how difficult it is, the Minutemen is definitely the taking independence quest where you have to like retake the castle because of the Myler Queen, and then I would say Railroad, Brotherhood of Steel, and the Institute sort of have the hardest quests at Mass Fusion or Spoils of War. Anyway, sidetrack. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Tell me why. In a nice, calm way, because otherwise, go fuck yourself. I love telling that to people. I love saying that. That just gave me, to be honest, I just repeated that again just so I can tell people to go fuck themselves. If you're aggressive with me, I don't care. Alright, go on ahead. And yeah, let me know your overall favorite faction, whether it's Fallout 4 or Fallout in general, side factions or mini factions, whatever they're called. And yeah, like, subscribe, comment, all that. Share with friends. It really helps out this channel. And yeah, Lose a Manic out.